Hello world, welcome to the 49th Climate Change Emergency Awareness Rally. Putting on my gloves. It is November 15th, 2019. I'll take a break when trucks are going by. So this is the 49th Climate Change Emergency Rally, November 15th, 2019, Gettysburg, PA USA. The next one will be next week, November 23rd at 11 o'clock as well. And that'll be here in Gettysburg. And then the following one on November 29th, we will hopefully be in Washington, D.C. Hold on a second. Hanging out with Jane Fonda and all, watch her get arrested. She does that weekly. She moved actually to Washington, D.C. just for this reason. It's a dire situation, and by the term dire, I mean like life-threatening, what's happening or not happening with our country and the world in general. You know, a lot of countries are saying they're doing things, but they're not. So what we need in this world and country especially is the truth from the government. We have a leader in charge who's in total climate change denial, and he thinks it's all a hoax. You know, I don't know if he really believes that or not, but what it comes down to is corruption. Basically, you got one party that's being paid off overtly over the table they're being paid off overtly by the fossil fuel industry to campaign and do their bidding and by their lobbyists. And then you have the other party that is paid off, you know, de facto by their actions, and that they're not proposing legislation. They say it's a dire emergency, but they're not doing anything to change the situation. So they're basically in bed, the same bed with each other, and there's no difference between the two parties when you get down to it. One is thwarting the situation and making it much worse, but the other does nothing and goes along with it. You know, if your life's being threatened, you stop everything and you actually go at the person or a group that's going after you when you're in a life and death struggle, and that's where we are right now. And the fact that these two parties, Democrats and Republicans, go along with it and don't do anything is an indication that there's some severe corruption going on. And to believe that the two-party system is going to change anything is absolutely bonkers. They are entrenched. They don't care about you. They don't care about anything but money. And they think somehow they're going to get out of this situation by getting more money. And that won't buy your way out of here. Mother Nature and the earth is gigantic, and it'll just absolutely crush us in the long run the way we're going. But it's a science experiment, and it's interesting to watch as to how we're all going to die. The question is rolling the dice as to when the snake eyes are going to come up and whether our time will come at that point. My thinking is we have till 2026 before all hell breaks loose. And that doesn't mean wait till 2026 to do things. That means all hell breaks loose by 2026. So, you know, whether I'm wrong, 2026, 2050, 2070, your kids are in deep trouble, okay? By the time they get to my age, they're going to be in deep trouble and having trouble surviving if they're even alive. So I really suggest you quit eating up all this bullshit that they're feeding you and thinking that the two parties are going to change anything. And I'm talking to top presidential candidates on both sides, too. They aren't getting to it, okay? They're talking about other issues and worried about impeachment and things like that. Important issues, but that is not the life-threatening situation we're in. However, the person in charge is actually threatening everyone's life right now by his actions. So you need the truth to be told. We need a citizens' assembly, as Extinction Rebellion's been saying in London. You know, we need a group of people to get together, and not a bunch of yahoos, but a bunch of people that actually have ideas. I don't know if you've been to parties or whatever, and people come up with all sorts of ideas about things and go, hey, that was really amazing that 20 of us got together and thought of these things. So, you know, I think group mentality actually does come up with good solutions and good answers to everything. Hold on, truck alley here. So, you know, you get a group of people together that are knowledgeable and are not politicians and actually don't have a stake in the game other than their kids and their families, and have some science background and some ideas. They don't necessarily need science background. You come up with all sorts of ideas, eliminate the politicians that have a stake in it, and you can really come up with some good plans as to what to do. You know, and some ideas first off, Extinction Rebellion says no emissions by 2025. And that sounds like it's absolutely ridiculous, but our lives are being threatened and we need to get to it. So we need to retool and rethink our whole thought process, whether you need to go to work every damn day and, or the factor of money. Maybe you need to go to work and instead of getting paid in money, you have a card or whatever and you go to the store, you get what you need, and you go to the car dealership, you get what you need. Nobody has too much, nobody has too little. Everybody has a good amount. So basically what I'm saying is everyone leads a good life, and and then you go along that way. The solutions also are no new roads. Okay, stop building roads. We don't need more roads. You can fix the roads we have to a certain extent, but no more new roads. This is ridiculous. That just perpetuates the whole industry as to what's going on. No natural gas, no more fracking, no more drilling, no more anything like that. Tanya's here with me now. So that's grand total of 2. Say hi, Tanya. Hey.
Hi.
So no new roads, no new fracking, no new wells. Replace cars that we're building, instead of making them combustible fuel cars, relying on gasoline. Start building cars that are totally electric. And that requires a thought process of everyone trying to figure out how to make a renewable battery. Okay, not a lithium battery that just throws metal into the earth. And we are smart enough to do this. I've recently read about a hemp battery, and that would be renewable and biodegradable as well. So that's an idea. Public transit is a must in our country. Europe has it really going on, even though they could improve. You want to ride in town, you should be able to just hail something and it comes by and picks you up and drops you off wherever you need to go. And that would cause another industry in itself to get going. Solar shingles, solar panels, things like that, but not of the metal that becomes toxic. Teleconferencing, rather than flying people all over the place or driving to your conferences, they do have wonderful things called iPhones and televisions that you can actually talk to each other without actually being there. And I don't know why we feel we have to put our bodies out there to do everything, but here we are just driving everywhere and thinking we have to do everything to do our jobs. And you really don't need to necessarily be there to do a lot of jobs. Right now you have Australia fires. They're in total drought there. They actually had one day in the entire continent of Australia that there was no rain at all, which is unheard of. They're in a total drought situation, which leads to giant brush fires. Sydney, Australia at times is being threatened as to whether they're going to have a fire or not. Nebraska is having flooding, which causes more food insecurity in the future. If we have spring floods again like we did last year, they'll lose even more crops. The USDA says that they had a 50% crop harvest this year, which is a total lie. What they had is a huge loss in crops, and of the crops that did survive that they were able to harvest, they got 50% of them out of the ground. You had an early cold snap, which caused a lot of the crops to be lost, that they didn't even get the chance to harvest because in the spring they didn't get a chance to plant them so early, if they could even get into fields. So in Brazil you have this swamp called a Pantanal, I think it is, that's on fire as well. It's a big tourist area, and that's an amazing thing that it has water and yet it's on fire. You still have your fires in Africa and Angola and places over there. They have huge rainforests that they're actually burning more proportionally than is the Brazilian rainforest. And then you have the Indonesian forests, which are being cut down all over the place. They're replaced by palm trees for palm oil. So look at your chocolate when you buy it or any product. Make sure they don't have anything that says palm in them. If they do, you're contributing to the death of the planet. Right now, El Nino is setting up. I think spring 2020 or so. It could be going full force or at least pushing pretty good. And that leads to less rain in South America, Central America. You don't know what's going to happen exactly. My guess is either California's going to get torrential rains or severe drought, one or the other. If they get severe drought, it's going to carry not only into California, but also up into Oregon, Washington, British Columbia. So they could have massive fires there. So right now the oceans are saving our butts. They're absorbing 93% of all the heat. presently that we put into the air. What we're suffering from right now is only 7% of what could have been happening. And had the oceans not been here, temperatures would be 97 degrees hotter everywhere. So it'd be unlivable, basically. We would all be dead instantly. So, there are things that we should be doing and thinking about, and also engaging and doing our research. If you're not scared as to what's happening, then you haven't done enough research. And my guess is most people that are around here, for example, are not scared enough because they haven't done any research. So we got a college right down the street. Again, nobody's out. And my suggestion is they start forming rallies of their own. And we should be hearing word of mouth through the grapevine that there are massive rallies going on around here all the time. If people aren't getting out here and protesting, then you aren't getting it. That's just a fact. Your kids are in danger, and you think about 2026, as I've been saying, and that means that's when things all hell breaks loose. But before that, it could be severe. And this is the last presidential election that anyone's going to be able to do anything. And I seriously doubt we have the push to do it. And by the time we get on, it'll be way too late. It's already too late now, but how bad you want it to be is up to you. What could happen, though, is you end up with government roundups. People, once they're not able to be fed, they'll say, we'll take you to a camp to help you out. Don't go. That'll be the end of you. But also, you're going to have mass migrations. Beforehand, you'll have diseases breaking out, like in worldwide pandemics, mosquito-borne diseases, all sorts of things are going to be pleasantly happening to everyone. You're going to have the old hunger and starvation because, as we're seeing in the Midwest, the farmers aren't able to get in their fields and plant their crops, or it's going to be too hot or too wet or too cold or something, because right now the jet stream is shredded and we don't know what kind of environment or weather we're going to be getting at any given time. And then the end-all is you're going to have wars everywhere. And, God forbid you have these countries with nuclear weapons are going to whip them around when they start losing, or they want to stem the tide of another group. So it's not looking good. And I really suggest everyone get proactive and, start getting on your politicians, local, state, federal, anyone you see, just right away, jump on them and say, what are you doing? Okay, if they're not doing anything, going along like a bag of doorknobs, and acting like everything's okay, then you got a real problem, and we have a problem as a whole world goes. Because right now, people are driving these cars down the street, and they have the right to do that, blah blah blah. But basically, we're all living in the same swimming pool, and if you have a guy taking a crap at one end or peeing in the other end with 15 other people, eventually it's going to affect you, and you should be very upset as to what's happening. So enough with that. My next rally is for both of us will be next week on the 23rd at 11 a.m. And as I said, we'll hopefully go down to Washington, D.C. on the 29th unless life happens, and then we'll be here again. So see you then, and nice talking with you, and thanks for hanging in there. See you later. Bye.